So thank you, organizers. Just wanted to confirm, does each team have all three specialties, med, rad, surge? Team A? Yes? Team B?
We don't have a radiation
We
oncologist.
don't have a radiation. Do we have another radiation oncologist in the audience? Because I have questions for all three specialties. Or else we'll ask the radiation oncologist from this team. There in team C, we have all three? Med, rad, surge. Okay. So I just have one case today and I have only 3 slides. So basically you all will be talking and I'll be listening today, right? So that's the case. So this is a 54-year-old male, had a GERD for last 20 years, on and off on proton pump inhibitors with no comorbidities. Presented with dysphagia for 2 months, however, not bad dysphagia, means he can still eat crushed diet, and hence there was no weight loss and there was no vomiting. Upper GI endoscopy showed a lesion at 35 centimeters from incisors, so basically lower esophageal growth, and biopsy was moderate to differentiated adenocarcinoma. We did a staging scan, CECT, TAP. It was a 6 centimeter long lower esophageal lesion going into GE junction, but it was not a GE junction tumor, with a maximal thickness of about 1.2 centimeters with some fat stranding. So clinically it was T3, although we didn't do EUS, and there were no nodes on the CT and there was no distant metastasis. So we all know that this is the lower end esophageal adenocarcinoma, and NCCN endorses 2 ways to treat these patients. One is neoadjuvant chemoradiation, like cross protocol, and second is the German FLOT regimen, where you do perioperative chemotherapy. And there are pros and cons for both, and there is a debate for both, which we shall have today. And so this patient, so in my institute, I do only GI cancers. So all patients with GI cancers have to have a MSI in my center. So this patient had an MMR testing on IHC and was deficient MMR. We also did a CPS score because patient's daughter was a doctor and CPS was 20 with DARCO 22C3. HER2 was negative. Mind you, this is still a curative setting. So patient underwent chemoport insertion. We did 4 cycles of FLOT. We decided to do perioperative chemotherapy and not neoadjuvant chemoradiation. The CT after 4 cycles had a very minimal response. Patient underwent a surgery. We will ask the surgeons what type of surgery they would do. And the surgery had adenocarcinoma T3N2, M0 grade 2, LVI positive, PNI positive, 7 nodes positive, PRG3. That means there was minimal to no response to 4 cycles of FLOT. Patient did recover well within 1 month. We don't have data that changing chemotherapy does any difference. So we decided to continue 4 more cycles of FLOT, although the dosages were almost 50% down. And we finished this almost 2 years ago. Now, why I wanted to bring this deficient MMR and I would encourage this discussion is there is a very nice meta-analysis by an Italian guy called Dr. Pietrantano 2 years ago. What they did is the group, they took all patients of MAGIC, Classic, Artist, and Itaca, means all the curative patients of stomach cancer with either perioperative or adjuvant chemotherapy. And they retrospectively saw who are the MSI. So about 6% were MSI high patients. And as you can see, the top blue and orange lines, there was no difference of addition of chemotherapy either in perioperative setting or in adjuvant chemotherapy if you are MSI high. You know, just like the colon cancer, 5FU doesn't do benefit in MSI high colon, and the same signal we are finding in gastric. But that's not the case if you are MSS. As you can see, the gray line is better than the purple line. Although this has not made into the guidelines, but if you were to ask any GI doctor in Memorial Sloan Kettering or MD Anderson, they would say if patient has MMR deficiency, all gastric cancer patients would go with upfront surgery. And I would like to have discussion on this point during our discussion. So that's what even we do at HCG Ahmedabad. Okay, so nevertheless, 6 months later, this patient had a small volume metastasis on a routine scan. So we do 6 monthly routine scan, and on the scan, he had omental disease and left adrenal metastasis. So we know we have immunotherapy approved for MSI high any tumors. So we gave this patient nivolumab 3 mg per kg, just 4 doses, and patient had a complete response. The problem was after the fourth dose, patient had a grade 4 colitis, and that colitis took almost 4 months to resolve. I had to give mycophenolate, a very high dose of steroids, and eventually it was a big problem. I saw this patient just a couple of months ago. Patient is still in CR. But hypothetically, for today's discussion, so for the second line, let's suppose this patient relapses now. Uh, are we going to re-challenge this patient with checkpoint blockade since patient had an amazing response, or we'll go to standard chemotherapy, ramucirumab, and all those? So just a small data on re-challenge. There is a very nice meta-analysis in JAMA presented last year of 24,000 patients who got, again, repeat immune checkpoint blockade. About 6,000 got a repeat checkpoint blockade therapy. And what we see is toxicity, different toxicities have different level of recurrences. So if you see pneumonitis, colitis, rash, arthritis, almost 35 to 50% will relapse. While if you see endocrine toxicities, adrenal, thyroid, their relapse rate is under 20%. So again, open for discussion. If this patient relapses in second line, would we again go for checkpoint, or will continue standard chemotherapy? So that is all my case. And these are the tumor board A, B, and C, what Dr. Advait showed. That's the same I have. And these are the 10 questions which we want to discuss. Okay, this is my final slide. And of course, we will have audience voting as well. So we'll start with tumor board A. Uh, Not necessarily will stick to government schemes, elderly or alone, but general opinion. Okay. So just quick perioperative chemotherapy or chemoradiation, tumor board A.
So perioperative chemotherapy with FLOT protocol, sir.
In lower and esophagus cancer.
Yeah.
All five agree?
So I would not agree with that. I would go in with a multimodality therapy here.
Cross.
Cross, yes, because cross has shown that the resection rates are better. And of course, there is no real comparative survival benefit between the perioperative chemotherapy as well as the CTRT neoadjuvant, so whatever the comparative results are there. But when we look at not just cross but FLOT, when you look at the POET study, the POET study did have patients who did better with the multimodality therapy.
Although we agree POET was a flawed trial design. What is the surgical opinion?
Maybe a radiation oncologist. I'm a radiation oncologist, so I still feel maybe a perioperative C2 be a better option. Knowing though I'm a radiation oncologist,
Perioperative what?
chemo would be a better option than NACTRT. I would not prefer cross in this because I know
Because?
a lot of evidence with adenocarcinoma and 75% of cross had adeno, but still I personally have seen a lot of patients doing well with squamous cell because NACTRT response in
Correct.
squamous is much better. Now knowing this, in this case also if given chemo not great response, I don't think NACTRT would have added fantastic results in this.
Do we have a surgeon in this panel? So what is your preference, sir? Do you like chemo and operation or RT and operation? Esophagus.
Chemo and operation.
You like chemo and operation, not radiation and
Not
operation.
radiation.
Okay, tumor board B, what is your opinion? I want each and everyone to answer this, all three members.
Yeah, forgetting the scenario which is
No,
given
this
to us.
scenario.
Achha, in tumor board B, we have geriatric patient.
Oh, no, not tumor
Not that.
board B.
So then even after you give, because here only we can imply the radiation, that bullet we can fire right now. And even after radiation therapy, radiation and chemo concurrent as a neoadjuvant treatment, even surgical planes are beautiful. There's no problem there. So we can imply there, and after surgery, we see the response, and then probably the adjuvant chemotherapy comes later on. So for surgeon, there's no problem. Even for this case, two-field esophagectomy would be good enough.
Correct. So you are a surgical oncologist.
Yeah.
So my surgical oncologist says radiation followed by surgery is better than chemo followed by surgery. Their fibrosis helps him. Is that true?
Yeah, that the planes are beautiful. There's
Okay.
no problem at all for a surgeon when they operate onto.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about my medical oncology colleagues?
I'll prefer the cross trial with neoadjuvant
Cross.
preoperative chemotherapy with radiation.
Cross.
I'll stick to same to cross trial because the
Cross.
dose of radiation is lesser as compared to other neoadjuvant
Correct.
radiation.
We'll come to the dose, sir. Team C, everybody cross or anybody flot?
Yeah, I'm radiation oncologist and it is lower esophagus and G junction. So I'll prefer cross dose, lower dose, so no complications.
Dr. Stalin.
Yeah, prefer only chemotherapy, perioperative chemotherapy with
Flot.
flot for any adenocarcinoma.
So why? And
So predominantly the recurrences in the squamous cell carcinoma are locally recurrent and adenocarcinomas are most probably a systemic disease. So most of the times adenocarcinoma of the esophagus, lower end of the esophagus or esophagogastric junction or the gastric, they tend to behave as systemic diseases. So more intensive chemotherapy may be better than a locally aggressive form of therapy like a CRT.
so that's a logic, but
Yeah.
do we have proof for that?
No,
Because
exactly.
There's no better result than cross, right? That's what cross people who vote for cross, they said the 5-year survival, you have not beaten cross.
Yes.
75% was adenocarcinoma. So why are we still debating this? You know, half of the house is cross, half of the house is flot. What about the audience? Okay, let's show of hands, cross. Show of hands for cross. Everybody in audience, please. Only few. Flot. For more flot. So more flot than cross. Okay. So we'll have to wait for ESOPEC trial. ESOPEC, I hear, has almost finished recruitment. I think so in a year or two, we shall have the final answer. But let me say cross versus magic, there was no difference. But that was presented this year, right? But we know flot is better than magic. So perhaps flot is better than cross. But well, okay, second question. Let's say if you're doing chemo alone, Dr. Advait, I'll start with you. You said chemo alone, right? You said chemo, flot. Oh, so you are the cross guy. Who said flot? You
Yes,
said flot. So now let me come to that tumor board A situation. Does your government approve the PICC lines and ports? How would you treat this? If you're going chemo route, do you do paclicarbo, K-pox? What do you do?
Yes, K-pox or Folpox.
Folfox?
Yes, sir. Government schemes.
With Cowfix? Folfox with?
Yes, sir. Folpox with Cowfix or normal.
Because my government does not approve central lines. Okay. So K-pox, does anybody use K-pox, perioperative K-pox? Any of the tumor board? Or paclicarbo? Standard 3-cycle paclicarbo? No?
So
Nobody?
in
No, I have
patients who
seen a lot of
can't-
prescriptions.
in
Come on, let's
patients-
be honest.
Viraj, yeah. So in patients who actually can't go for the infusional 5-FU where a flot regimen is planned because of some cardiac issue, there we do tend to use a modified DOX kind of regimen, which would be
What
also like
Tata
flot,
uses.
but docetaxel, oxaliplatin, and with capecitabine as a modification instead of the infusional 5-FU. I prefer to give it every 2 weekly with 1 week of full dose capecitabine and 1 week break, with the same doses of docetaxel and oxaliplatin as what are in flot regimen.
Okay. Yes.
Government
GCRI?
scheme does not approve it. Issue with that is the government scheme doesn't approve. So most of the times flot is what has to be given. Unfortunately, in government schemes, the PICC lines are not included. So flot has to be given to peripheral IV access, which is a bad problem.
So I have few of my Gujarat colleagues.
In scheme, we have Capox and we have Cis5. So this
Cis5FU.
Cis5.
3 days infusion.
Yes. So these two,
Is that infusion or 5-FU push?
no infusion, but we have to get that PICC line or central line in paid, obviously.
Okay.
And Capox, I have given in one patient Capox as a perioperative chemo.
So let's agree that in government scheme, it's difficult to do, full or triplet regimen. So tumor board B, let's say we decide to do cross or neoadjuvant chemo radiation. Since it is adenocarcinoma, would you be tempted to use fluoropyrimidine based partner or a paclicarbo?
I would still stick to paclicarbo only, weekly paclicarbo, very well tolerated.
Paclicarbo in
Yes.
adenocarcinoma.
Adenocarcinoma.
All three? Same. Tumor board C?
Yeah, paclicarbo.
Nobody uses 5-FU with radiation? For
If we are following a neoadjuvant CRT, strictly sticking on to cross.
strictly cross. Tumor board A? All cross people with paclicarbo only. Anybody in audience uses fluoropyrimidine partner with radiation? Let's show of hands. No. Okay. So we have data from MD Anderson where they did neoadjuvant 2 cycles chemotherapy. If there was no response, they changed between FOLFOX and paclicarbo, right? And what they showed is, no matter what was the response, if you have selected FOLFOX over paclicarbo, the overall survival, response rates, and disease-free survival all are better with FOLFOX backbone and not paclicarbo. And hence, I thought this was an interesting point. I have done few FOLFOX along for especially adenocarcinoma esophagus, moving away from cross. But that's just me. Dose of RT, somebody was
Viraj,
mentioned.
one question regarding that. I
Yeah.
know as a panelist, I can't ask you a
No, no, of
question,
course you
but
can ask.
still, does the decision of FOLFOX versus paclicarbo depend on the MSI? Because you said that you've been doing MSI in your patients.
Correct.
Was this because of deficient MMR that you decided to?
No, no, no.
Or
No.
MSS that you
No,
decided?
no. In fact, if you have a deficient MMR, I would definitely not do fluoropyrimidine. But because it's adenocarcinoma, and some of the panelists said that weekly paclicarbo is an inferior systemic cover, because these are the patients who usually fail distant and not local. So the logic says that give them a proper systemic cover. Okay, somebody said about the dosing. What dose? Radiation oncologist?
Yeah, it's 41.4 gray and 23
41 point.
fraction.
Anybody for
Let's-
45 grays? No 45 gray. 45 gray?
41.4.
41.4. Anybody in the audience 45 grays? It was standard until 2012, right? Until the cross came, only one trial with 41.4. Until that, it was all American 45
No,
grays.
it can be given, it can be given.
So what do they do in practice?
Yeah, no, usually we can give 45 gray to 50 gray also, but just because we are following cross trial and we want to reduce the dose of radiation so that our surgical colleagues get a better plane.
50 gray in neoadjuvant?
Yes.
Okay,
Usually for neoadjuvant, not more than 45,
not more than
max 45. And now after cross 41.4.
Okay, 41.4. Is there any difference between 41.4 and adding 3 more fractions to 45?
That maybe I think surgical colleagues can tell better because they operate
No,
later
in
on.
toxicity,
So toxicity not much as such.
not much. What do you think?
No, up to 45 easily tolerated.
40 to 45 should be easily tolerable. Above 45, go up to 50 might be some issues, but I don't think shouldn't be a problem up to 45.
You know, one of the argument, let's say tumor board B, 70-year-old, EF 40%, the surgeons will not get a anesthetic fitness. So often radiation oncologists say, you know, why not push it to 50? If surgery cannot be done, at least have given
Then
definitive.
better you do a radical CTRT.
So what's the
Definitely.
dose?
I mean, definitive CTRT.
So what?
You go up to 54 or something.
54 also.
54.
Yeah, between 50 to 54.
50
Depending
to, so
upon
my
the
center
tolerance.
does 50. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, 50
Yeah,
is
for
also good enough.
Definitive CTRT 50.4 to
50.
54.
50.4 to 54. Anybody for 60 grays?
With escalating the dose. RTOG trial was there, which jumped up to 60 to 66. That was detrimental trial.
So that brings me to this question. Would you consider definitive CTRT in adenocarcinoma esophagus? Tumor board A.
No, only
Because
if it
definitive
is
CTRT
only,
is for squamous, right?
no, that would be locally advanced you're talking, right? I mean, locally advanced, if it is inoperable,
No,
I mean,
70-year-old surgeon is not getting anesthetic fitness.
if patient is fit enough, PS is good, I would definitely think going up to 54 in 30, 54 grain, 30 fractions.
Do we have data for definitive chemoradiation in adenocarcinoma?
See, again, it's like the trial which came, I mean, which we're talking of RTOG, the experimental arm showed was detrimental, but what they use in the normal scenario was 50 to 54. So we follow that as the standard of care for
That was
definitive
squamous
CTRT.
cell, no? That was squamous esophagus.
But as such, there's no one analyzed adeno separately.
That's why I'm asking you.
So
Would you
it's-
do it definitive chemoradiation in your practice?
Yes,
in
we do.
adenocarcinoma?
We do.
You do. Dr. Advait? in Bombay, do you do definitive chemoradiation in adenocarcinoma esophagus?
No.
Not
we
a
don't.
single case
We
you
don't.
would
At
think
least
of.
at my center, last 2 years, we haven't really done it.
What about you, sir?
Yes, sir, we treat.
With definitive
Yes,
chemo,
sir.
Archie? What about
Yeah,
tumor?
we do treat. If surgery is not feasible and we have that radiation or chemoradiation as the only definitive option, we do it. Yes, the benefit, magnitude of benefit is less in adenocarcinoma as compared to squamous, but there is some benefit.
So let me ask my surgeon. In fact, let me come to you next because I have a question for you next. So would you do it, Dr. Stalin? Definitive, yes,
Definitive chemoradiation, right?
for
So
adenocarcinoma.
yeah, for only for 3 scenarios. First, if patient is not fit for surgery. Second,
So if patient is not fit for surgery, how is he fit for 50 grays? Matlab,
yeah, he can see surgery needs anesthetic fitness. Radiation doesn't need anesthetic fitness.
oh my.
So that
There are
is simple.
surgeons who might not agree to that, no?
So if patient most of the patient tolerate 50 gray, that is not a big deal. Second scenario is if patient is not willing for surgery at all, and third scenario is T4B disease. Three scenarios for definitive chemoradiation.
T4B means the top.
Vertebral body is involved and all these big structures
Okay.
involved.
Dr. Stalin, what about you? In Hyderabad?
Same. I agree with,
So you have some patients who are on definitive CTRT?
yeah, those who can't tolerate surgery and not willing for surgery.
No, because I was thinking, what is audience opinion? Because I think if patient can tolerate 50 gray, they can tolerate the esophagus surgery. What is the opinion? Do we have surgeons in the audience? Apart from these two? No, no surgeon. So what is your take on that, sir?
Yeah, same thing. If he's going to tolerate 50 grays, I believe that he'll tolerate surgery. Anyway, surgical insult is a short-term insult. And with chemoradiation, that goes on for long
Correct.
time.
So that
It's
is a
lower
often
third
a mixed
esophagus.
Yes,
It's lower
lower
third esophagus. So
So-
transhiatal esophagectomy, surgical fitness should not have any problem if the
Excellent.
patient
So
is.
that's my point. Because when I tell this to my surgeon, that's the same question. Then how is your patient going to tolerate 50 grays if it is not fit for surgery?
We
Yes.
argue opposite way. Well,
Occasional patients, for example, we had one who had a severe kyphoscoliosis. He would not have come onto the table to tolerate the surgery.
Oh yeah.
So those kind of cases.
We can do TH in lateral position also.
Okay, but I think so that's an important take-home message or which I wanted to drive. Definitive chemoradiation is way inferior modality for adenocarcinoma. You need surgery and that is very important. Okay, so surgeon, let's say we have to do operation. What operation? I need you to answer all of these questions. D2, will you do D2 for esophageal adenocarcinoma?
Yes,
And 3-field, Ivor Lewis McEwan.
D2 with a 3-field is my choice.
D2 with 3 fields. Okay. What about this surgeon? Tumor board B?
Given the scenario, geriatric patient probably. So THE will be my take because less time and the comorbidity ejection fraction 42% the THE. But if that scenario is left, then probably for me it is 2-field, lower third esophageal cancer, 2-field esophagectomy, and maybe anastomosis in the neck. Ivor Lewis is intrathoracic anastomosis. So anastomosis will be in the neck. So maybe McKeown with the VATS approach and again abdominal. So D2 lymphadenectomy.
Just slightly moving away from today's discussion. Quick. Robo lap open.
Yeah. VATS approach and open abdominal approach, laparotomy.
Open.
That's
Yes.
I'll prefer Ivor Lewis with standard D2 being a lower third disease.
Ivor Lewis. So we are having different approaches, right? Why is that? Can anybody?
Because scenario is different. For A, it is a scheme, government scheme.
Oh,
For
that's
B,
why.
yeah.
Okay. But let's say if there is no
Take out-
scenario, then
If no scenario, then I think it is going to be VATS with laparoscopic approach for the abdomen and
anastomosis.
in the neck.
Okay. So Dr. Advait, you said cross. Now I remember correctly. Cross and now T3N2. Right. Would you do checkmate 577? If yes, whom? Squamous adenocarcinoma. Would you do CPS answer all these questions.
Checkmate 577 is for relapse situation.
No, no, adjuvant nivolumab.
In adjuvant nivolumab, yes,
After cross, if you don't have PAT-CR, you do 1 year of nivolumab. That's category 1 recommendation now.
Yes.
So would you do that?
for
No,
patient in
no
scheme,
ABC, no
but
ABC, no
if
ABC.
it's a treatment which I would offer, I would discuss it with the patient.
In
that
adenocarcinoma,
I would do the CPS to decide.
you would do CPS to decide. CPS 1? No, that,
Yeah,
those are the
so-
points
so
which I
if
wanted to
CPS
drive.
If CPS is one, I think any positivity of CPS, there is a
Any
benefit.
positive, you'll give Nivo.
CPS zero, I would not really push the patient.
CPS 0, you won't
I would
be
really
happy
push the
offering
patient. I would
nivolumab.
be happy. I know that this may not be really beneficial.
Okay, fair point. What about you? Tumor
So
board B?
checkmate 577 included patients with both adenocarcinoma
Yes.
as well as squamous cell carcinoma.
70% adeno.
Yes. So I would offer it to both irrespective of the histology, of course, with those who have not achieved PAT complete response. And CPS, irrespective of the CPS score, because they also included patients with PDL1 less than 1%.
Right. So, Dr. Stalin, I agree that although the trial was not designed, or in fact, it was smartly designed to take all of them, but when you do the subgroup analysis, what is your take? Would you offer everybody nivolumab if you don't get PAT-CR, or would you only reserve it for squamous, or would you reserve it for patients who have CPS more than 5 and use it judiciously rather than give it for all? Dr. Stalin, what do you do?
Possibly now for all patients of
All.
squamous and adeno.
Okay. Anybody in audience wants to comment on this? Okay, let's see show of hands. Nivolumab adjuvant for adenocarcinoma CPS 1. How many will do that? Audience? Nobody? Only one. Difficult. Okay. I believe the subgroup analysis, you want to make a point? Yes.
Since you asked anyone from audience, so I thought I'll just come up and say.
Please.
Yeah, so the trial took everybody on board and said that, post, if there's a non-pathological response we must give. But actually subgroup analysis shows that the squamous cell carcinoma probably had a better than the adenocarcinoma.
So squamous had a far better result, and patients who had CPS more had far better result. So that's what I do in my practice, although NCCN does not categorize this. It's for all comers. For surgical, so Dr. Advait, were you convinced by this MSI data that if you have MSI high gastroesophageal adenocarcinoma, there is no benefit of giving chemotherapy, either perioperative or adjuvant, and hence you would give that case to surgeon? What is your take on that?
So ever since the data has come in, we've started collecting data at our center for doing MSI upfront for patients who are posted for neoadjuvant therapy approach. Unfortunately, surgeons also have to understand and be comfortable with that, which many
Upfront
times they
surgery.
are not to accept upfront surgery in such situation if the MSI is high. So that is where we are facing a challenge, that the surgeons not willing to accept that they have to go in upfront. And obviously the drawback of that study is that it's a retrospective analysis. We don't have prospective data.
But you won't get prospective.
But you will
right?
never get prospective.
You will never get it.
So
So as a surgeon, sir, are you comfortable operating a G junction tumor, brand new?
Technically, yes.
You are comfortable. What about you, sir?
If it is operable, definitely we are comfortable with it.
It is operable. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
So we
resectable
are
disease.
comfortable to resect that tumor.
Upfront.
Yeah, upfront.
G junction
Yeah, G junction,
adenocarcinoma.
upfront.
Upfront, we can do.
Wow. Okay, but you just said that, isn't it better if you give radiation?
Yeah, it is better because the planes are good, and because a time required for surgery definitely that is affected.
But the
Because
virgin planes are better.
yeah, virgin planes are better.
Yeah, Nilesh, you are saying that after post-RT planes are going to be good.
Yeah.
Not always, I believe.
Yeah,
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yes.
in this scenario, when the initial imaging showed that there were no or very few nodes.
No nodes.
Yeah, and the final histopathy eventually showed.
You do get that, right? In stomach
Yeah,
cancer.
that happens.
It's a
but,
common
but
oops.
you will get some significant, means probably in this case, though not usually comfortable, probably upfront surgery
That's why we don't give upfront surgery to surgeons, because there is always an oops factor. Then what would you do if it is an N2? So, but with this MSI data, so how many in medical oncology, do you do MSI in gastroesophageal adenocarcinoma?
Yes, we do.
Resectable.
Yes, we do it, but
Great.
it will not
Yes.
change the line of.
It will not change. You're just collecting data. What
Yes.
Dr. Advait said.
Yes, same, collecting data.
Collecting data. If I can ask you, how many positive you got so far?
Around 5 to 6%.
You got 5 to 6%. So 1 in 20. Okay. That's what even our experience is.
Viraj, one point I would want to make is when in such situations, when you are going to offer neoadjuvant therapy to these patients, I think there is definitely a role of doing a PET CT scan over a CT to actually look at these
Agreed.
occult disease.
Agreed.
And naturally, once you have a multidisciplinary team, if a decision of surgery is done, or diagnostic laparoscopy to see the peritoneal.
Excellent
disease.
point. Diagnostic lab for esophageal adenocarcinoma, would you do?
Yeah, no.
Or only stomach?
Yeah, if it is G junction, then definitely
This
there's
is lower esophagus.
lower esophagus, not reaching but not involving G junction, no staging laparoscopy as such.
So let me ask you, what's the percentage of occult metastasis which you would miss on imaging and you would find in an esophageal adenocarcinoma? Less than 1%?
Very few actually.
Right? So, but I know Tata does it for esophageal adenocarcinoma, diagnostic lab for all.
Yeah, they do.
But for stomach, we do it in our center, not for esophagus. Okay. So since we have last 5 minutes, so again, tumor board A, this patient has relapsed just like in 6 months. Would you use checkpoint blockade because it is MSI high, or you would want some more tests, CPS, TPS, TMB, vagera, vagera?
Yes, sir. I would like to add immunotherapies to. this patient.
Immunotherapy, first
Yeah.
line,
Yes. sir.
first relapse.
Sir, for first relapse, if MSI is high, then definitely a immunotherapy. If MSI is not high, then
MSI high, first relapse.
yes, I'm comfortable. Yes.
Is it approved? Because what is your take, Dr. Advait? Nivo is after chemo failure, no?
Yes, Nivo is currently recommended in a relapse situation after a chemo failure. So in this scenario, if I have to choose a treatment for a G junction disease, adenocarcinoma, my choice would be to go in for chemotherapy, maybe irinotecan-based regimen, or
Patient had no response to FLOT.
so
Perhaps a chemo-resistant tumor.
chemo-resistant disease. So maybe irinotecan, addition of ramucirumab. I don't really have too much of experience in ramucirumab because difficult drug to manage also, and not many patients are able to do it. In the scheme, if we have to treat, then it would probably be irinotecan or a taxane platinum combination or something like that.
Okay. Tumor board B, I have an interesting question. Let's say we were to do an NGS on this patient and TMB is 8, but patient has high MSI. What would you do?
So I'd also check for CPS in that case. If it is more
CPS
than
is
10,
20,
I would offer.
TMB is 8. Would that
I would give
derail you?
precedence- No, I would give precedence of CPS over TMB.
CPS over
More than
TMB?
10 because it's 20.
So do we check CPS in cases of MSI high?
Yeah, we do check it occasionally
We
in
do
such
check
grace
occasionally.
areas.
Tumor board C, what is your opinion?
And considering the disease has relapsed within 6 months,
Yes.
possibly a chemo-resistant disease,
Yes.
I would consider immunotherapy single agent in this case, taking MSI high as there in the patient.
And if the NGS showed tumor TMB 8,
I will give more importance to MSI high than a TMB in this case.
okay. So I didn't bring the data, but there is 2 retrospective analysis from Japan and Korea that if you have MSI high gastric cancer and were treated with checkpoint blockade, if your TMB was less than a cutoff level, then you progress within 3 months. While if it was high, you are a flat line, 100%
I
response.
had shown the data in my slides, which actually looked into G junction.
Correct. What
also.
you showed it for
So,
colorectal
for
cancer.
the colorectal cancer, and
Same
the
data
is
we
the
have
data
for
is
gastric
G
cancer.
junction adenocarcinomas.
Okay. Last few points. Just few words on ramucirumab. Where would you put ramucirumab, tumor board B, in treatment line of this patient?
For a fit patient, I can combine a ramucirumab with some
Single agent,
taxane.
taxane, irinotecan.
With taxane.
With taxane. With irinotecan, would you do it? Patient has already got taxane.
No, in that case, I won't do it. It would either be single agent ramucirumab or single agent.
Not with irinotecan. Tumor board C.
Yeah, with irinotecan, not single agent ramucirumab.
Not single agent ramucirumab. Tumor board A.
Yes, after failure of Hallmarks.
After failure of FLOT,
Yeah.
would you again give it with taxane or with irinotecan? Or single agent?
They would taxane or irinotecan.
If no taxane in the chemotherapy initially,
Correct.
definitely taxane plus.
So we
ramucirumab.
have that data
Yeah.
now, right? Okay. And last point, so this is a real case and I'm worried whether if he relapses now, should I do re-challenge? Last point before I end it. What would you do, Dr. Advait? This is a real patient. So far, this patient has not relapsed, but if this patient relapse, should I re-challenge?
So you said that the patient received about 3 months of
Two
Nivo-
months,
2
4
months of
cycles,
Nivo,
complete
then-
response.
Then 4 months to manage the grade 4
Yes.
colitis.
Yes.
And then after that, how much has been the
60
difference?
diarrheas, 60 diarrhea per day.
And if this patient has to be re-challenged, first thing, I will not use the CTLA for here.
I didn't
Because-
use CTLA.
No, if you're re-challenging,
Ah.
you would not use the combination because this patient already had a grade 4 diarrhea. Secondly, if you're re-challenging again with Nivo, I would look very, very closely because I know that 1 in 3 is going to have this again.
Hmm.
So I would not have the guts to re-challenge.
You
If
would
the
not.
patient has
You would
grade 4
not.
diarrhea for 4 months.
No, you would not. So chemotherapy, if this
Yes.
patient relapse.
Yes.
I agree with sir. With the grade 4 toxicity, which took 4 months and you had to use MMF and drugs like that, I would not re-challenge it.
You would not re-challenge. But patient got CR with that, potentially cure. What about tumor board C? Would you re-challenge?
Possibly no. For such a diarrhea taking 4 months, most
Okay.
probably not there enough to
Maybe
reach.
try the
reach
40
out.
I
milligram
wanted a
dose.
yes.
Maybe try the 40 milligram dose.
40 milligram dose. Okay. Thank you so much. Does anybody from audience want to make a last point before? I
Yeah,
step
that
down?
low dose is an option. So is a valid
1
option.
mg per kg. Okay, excellent. Anybody from audience want to make a last point before I step down? No? What's that? Time out. Yes. We have our expert join via Zoom. So can we have him on the screen, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the excellent. Can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. But we need to see your picture. Yes.
Yeah.
Now you are visible.
Thank you for the excellent tumor board. It was a pleasure listening to you, Dr. Viraj. I have some few suggestions on points. I would like to know what percentage of you are doing endoscopic sonography in your cases like this? Because it seems to have been understage disease on retrospective analysis.
We'll ask the panelists, EUS quickly. Yes, no?
No.
No. Tumor board B?
No.
No. Tumor board C?
No.
We are going to do now from my center, we are going to do 100 cases and see whether it will be yes or no. But currently we're not doing it.
That's all. And what is the present role? I thought PET CT is coming in a big way, like you mentioned. MD Anderson has started doing
think so, it's mandatory.
PET CT after 2 cycles to assess the chemotherapy sensitivity. And are we having anything coming up in our centers about anybody's doing that, started doing that?
So what he's asking is PET adapted response. If PET is
Yeah.
showing a response, so that's what I said, FOLFOX versus paclitaxel. Does anybody use PET adapted therapy in esophageal adenocarcinoma? A, tumor board A, B?
No.
No, tumor board C? No, sir, so far we don't. But yes, that is very interesting.
Because I think that's the point on the checkpoint inhibitors upfront in MSI high tumors, which has been now been recommended by the NCCN and the up to date and the ASCO. what percentage of us are actually following it? Because I feel that using MSI checkpoint inhibitors, particularly nivolumab upfront in MSI high, is practically none of us are doing it. At least I have not used it, so I don't know how many of you are actually doing it.
We have a very erudite panel. Everybody is doing MSI high now
So
for
actually, the incidence of MSI is quite low.
5 to 6%.
So
like
it's
you
about
said.
4 to 5% of the patients who have MSI high. Out of those, how many would actually go for nivolumab
Checkpoint
is
blockade.
another question, because naturally such treatment is offered to most of the patients. But in the current given scenario, 90% end up not taking it.
Logistic reasons.
I think that's all. I would just close my comment by saying excellent tumor board. Thank you for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.